Hello everyone, I'm Meghan Sullivan and welcome to my analysis video of the Final Fantasy XVI Ambition trailer. It's called Ambition because I'm assuming one of the 5 countries on the continent of Valisthea has ambitions. Ah, but which one? Or is it all of them? We don't know yet, but past trailers and analysis potentially point to the Empire of Sombrek as the catalyst for a war that engulfs all of Valisthea. But I think I'm getting ahead of myself here, so let's quickly review what we know so far about Final Fantasy XVI so that the conclusions about this trailer make more sense. Final Fantasy XVI takes place on the continent of Valisthea, which kind of sounds a bit like Ivalice, as one video pointed out, and as you'll see, this game has an Ivalice vibe to it. Valisthea is studded with colossal mountains of glittering crystal called Mother Crystals. These Mother Crystals have towered over the realms around them for generations, blessing them with ether. This blessing of the Mother Crystals, all of which have the name Drake in them, has allowed those realms to thrive, and their people to live in comfort. The magic of the Mother Crystals also apparently allows a special group of people known as Dominants to summon Eikons, magical elemental beings, to defend their lands in times of crisis. Countless wars have been fought over the Mother Crystals, leading to the rise of nations such as the Grand Duchy of Rosaria, the Holy Empire of Sombrek, the Kingdom of Waylude, the Dalmekian Republic, and the Iron Kingdom, each with their own culture and ideology. Authors note, there's also a place called the Northern Territories, which has aligned itself with Rosaria. Ongoing skirmishes have forged an uneasy peace between these nations, but with the emergence of the ruinous blight, a phenomenon draining the land of life, that fragile peace is starting to deteriorate. And then it really deteriorates because for some unknown reason, the Empire of Sombrek invades the Dukedom of Rosaria, although I assume it's to access their Mother Crystal, which also happens to be shared with the Iron Kingdom. You can already see where things are about to get messy. This invasion kicks off a war that ends up entangling every country in Valisthea and involves every country's dominant getting into fisticuffs with other dominants. Thus the War of Icons begins. In the middle of all this is Clive Rosefield, who is not a dominant but is the sworn shield to a dominant, his younger brother Joshua, the future ruler of the Dukedom of Rosaria and dominant of the Eikon Phoenix. As we already know from the previous trailer, Clive has the ability to wield the power of many icons, which is obviously a rather unique trait, but we don't yet know how or why he does this. But what's going on here? What is the Blight? Why all this fighting? Why is everyone yelling? Well, let's see if we can glean some answers from the newest trailer and all the information we know thus far. So the opening shot has a leather-bound book with what looks like a W on it. Could this stand for the Kingdom of Waylude? I don't know, but I think it's interesting. A woman's voice explains it's been 1,500 years since the fall of Valisthea's forebears, I assume because of a war over Mother Crystals, and that the land has been slowly dying ever since via a phenomenon known as the Blight, which is causing the Mother Crystal's flame to dim to nothing more than a flicker. We then see the pages of the book flip to a map, and then a close-up of a Mother Crystal in the water. Now, this will make more sense in a minute, but I'm going to take a shot in the dark and say this is Drake's Breath, which is where Rosaria draws its ether from, but in fact is controlled by the Iron Kingdom, a small group of islands that is ruled by the Crystalline Orthodox, an extreme faith that worships crystals, and judges dominants to be unholy abominations. They actually execute anyone unlucky enough to be born a dominant. Moving on, we then see Clive and 2 warriors exploring the Deadlands, which have been ruined by the Blight. There are no trees, no birds, no magic, nothing. In this shot, you can see Clive has a brand on the left side of his face, though we still don't know what that is or what that represents. There are 2 men with him. One carries a heavy-looking kit, and the other has a bit of a swag to his step and carries 2 swords on him. Pay attention to him because later in the trailer, we'll see something important about him. Also, neither has a brand from what I can see. Oh look, they also have a doggy with them. We next see Clive studying his right hand, as if some power resides in it. I actually have 3 theories as to what's going on here. 1, Clive just got Titan's smash powers. We've seen him wield Titan's power in the previous trailer. 2, he's being consumed by the Blight. Or 3, he's pondering the fate of dominance, which we learn eventually get consumed by the power of the Eikon they wield. And this is not good for Clive. As we'll see, he can wield the power of many Eikons. At any rate, his hand is covered by a glove, so we don't know what he's looking at just yet. We then see a tall tower, which is probably a mother crystal, maybe Drake's tail, located in the neutral land of the Crystalline Dominion. And then we see a shot of a page from the book where someone is holding a crystal in the right image and another possible crystal shot on the left. Is the book recording past events in this sequence, or current events that are playing out in the game? I wonder. We then see a rocky cliffside with a fortress overlooking water with a huge crystal behind it. Is this the Crystalline Dominion or the Iron Kingdom? And is that red crystal the Drake's breath? We then see a frozen tundra with a giant lake in the middle. I'm assuming this is the Northern Territories where Jill Warwick is from. More on her in a second. Then we see a dark tower with a purple crystal. Now that purple theme is important because we see it later in the trailer, and I'm calling it now. That crystal is probably Drake's spine, the mother crystal that belongs to Waylude. We also see a giant blue crystal with a castle town surrounding it, which reminds me of Ishgard in Final Fantasy XIV, but is in fact most likely Oriflamme, the capital of the Holy Empire of Sombrek, which is the largest theocratic force in Valisthea. That makes the crystal Drake's head. We then see the Duke of Rosaria explaining to his son Joshua that the world cannot survive without the blessing of the crystals, which work their magic through dominance. The Duke explains that as a dominant, Joshua is blessed with the crystal's power. Put ominous foreshadowing here. Dun dun dun. The pages flip again to another map. We see some mysterious writing, and then there's a transition using the flag of Rosaria with a phoenix on it. Inside an impressive-looking castle, the Duke of Rosaria is talking to his eldest son, Clive. Here the Duke tells Clive that they need to secure Drake's breath. Now remember that Drake's breath is the mother crystal Rosaria uses as its source of ether, but is also controlled by the Iron Kingdom. The Iron Kingdom and Rosaria have butted heads over the crystal before, so the Duke's plan would definitely not make the Iron Kingdom very happy. Why is the Duke doing this? Obviously to secure the crystal's ether, but is this a selfish move, a survival tactic, or a war tactic? We know from the previous trailer Rosaria is invaded by the Holy Empire of Sombrek, so maybe the Duke is trying to secure ether to help defend his country. Not that the Iron Kingdom cares, this is gonna make them so mad. Also, fun fact, next to the Duke is a Bosch/Gabranth looking dude, whom we'll see briefly again later. Meanwhile, the flag of Sombrek transitions us to what I assume is Sombrek, and that is totally Ishgard, people. If I don't see Sir Emmerich and or Astinian do a walk-on cameo in this game, I'm gonna be so mad. At any rate, in this beautiful, tasteful palace, the Holy Emperor, who is believed by the locals to be the divine incarnation of the one true deity, please tell me their deity is known as a Fury. I need Square Enix to commit to the whole Ishgard thing. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the Holy Emperor makes it clear he's planning an attack. Because as the voiceover makes clear, ambition is divine. Where is he going to attack? The territory of Storm, which is nearby the Iron Kingdom. Man, the Iron Kingdom is getting it from all sides. By the way, notice a pair of feet are dangling in a bored manner next to him, and the person in front of him is surely Dion, the Emperor's son and the Crown Prince of Sombrek, whom we'll talk more about in a bit. Then we transition to the Dalmekian Republic, a Middle Eastern-looking country inspired by Islamic architecture. Although oddly, it looks like the palace is built among ruins? Is that from war, the Blight? We don't know yet. We just know that it's here where the mother crystal Drake's Fang is located. At any rate, we see Hugo Kupka, the dominant of the Eikon of Earth, Titan, and permanent economic advisor to the Dalmekian Republic, shun the Republic's council for being goaded into war without considering the chaos it would reap. Also, wow, Hugo is wearing some impressive bling. He's clearly come a long way from being a lowly foot soldier in the Republic's army. Then we see the Iron Kingdom, home of the Ironborn. Sorry, Ironblood, who speak their own language and have no tolerance for dominants and Eikons at all. And I'm guessing this scary-looking dude here, who admits to, quote, cleansing the corrupt souls of dominants, i.e. straight up murders them, is the head of the Crystalline Orthodoxy. Then we transition to the isolated kingdom of Waylude, and this shot confirms that the purple crystal from earlier in the trailer is in fact Drake's spine. Now what's interesting about Waylude is that the ruler and dominant are the same person, and now Square Enix has revealed who that person is. Barnabas Thummer, a titleless warrior who used his giant black sword to win himself a kingdom. Well, I say sword, but what I really mean is his ability to summon the epic icon Odin. In this sexy shot, we also see Benedicta Harmon, who has been confirmed to be the dominant for the Warden of the Wind, the icon Garuda. Like Clive, she's on a mission to find the second icon of fire, Ifrit, whom we saw in the previous trailer attacking Rosaria. This mysterious woman, who apparently has a mysterious dark past, uses swordplay and subterfuge to get information. Hugo's character description suggests she may have already used her considerable charms on Titan's dominant, and that might be what she's doing in this scene. Here she's in bed with the ruler of Waylude, who tells her that as the land is swallowed up by darkness, people flock to the mother crystals. Obviously, he's referring to either the Blight or the War or both. Right after that, we see Barnabas appear out of dark, smoky air, and that's kind of cool. Next, the page turns to the phoenix spreading its wings over a battle scene we've seen before. The voiceover tells us it's the year 860, which means between the fall of the Forebearers 1500 years ago and now there was something else in between. At any rate, the voiceover warns us that a dark shadow, the wielder of Dark Ifrit, is about to paint the destinies of all the dominants black as night. And she's not kidding. First, we see a knight of the Empire attacking the Duke of Rosaria. Also in this shot, check out the mage in the background. Joshua attempts to protect his father by clumsily waving a sword at his enemies, but all that does is distract the Duke, who is immediately beheaded right in front of Joshua. To make matters worse, we then see Joshua confronted by a hooded figure in red who is clearly the dominant of Dark Ifrit. We then see a close-up of Ifrit, which is both impressive and terrifying. Then Joshua loses it and we see him transform into Phoenix, while a bewildered Bosch, you know the guy we saw standing next to the Duke in his throne room earlier, and an unknown soldier who screams, "Eikon!" look on. But here's where the trailer starts to get really interesting. In the next few moments, we see several characters transform into icons, while a voiceover explains that instead of commanding respect, dominants are treated as outcasts. And surprise, the first person we see transform is the swaggering soldier with the double swords from the beginning of the trailer. The purple lightning in this shot indicates the soldier is about to turn into Ramu. We then see Hugo turn into Titan. We also see Jill, who is a dominant of the icy icon Shiva, pushed around by soldiers in a desert-like area while telling someone she, quote, became their puppet. Who is they? Since we know that Jill is a ward of the Rosarian dukedom and a friend to Clive and Joshua, it's likely she was captured by soldiers from the Holy Empire of Sombrek and is being marched to the Dalmatian Empire, possibly to help them invade it, the same way the Empire invaded Rosaria. And this makes sense because A, we've already been teased about a fight between Shiva and Titan, and B, Titan's dominant Hugo was seen mocking the Republic for easily being goaded into war earlier in the trailer. We then see the swaggering soldier with the double swords revealing an arm that looks diseased or corrupted. Now, it's not clear if the corruption is a result of the Blight or if this is what happens to a dominant when they wield the power of an icon for a long time. But since we know the soldier turns into Ramu, I'm guessing the latter. Also, it's kind of confirmed by the voiceover where a woman, possibly Benedicta, demands to know what right people have to leave dominants to die when their bodies are spent. By the way, note the soldier carrying a kit in the background that's clearly the warrior we saw at the start of the trailer. We then see a corpse? Maybe Hugo's father? The reason I think that's possible is because we then see Hugo screaming and vowing to crush and flay him. Then we see another person screaming. This is Dion Lesage, the son of the Holy Emperor of Sombrec and dominant of the King of Dragons, Bahamut. And not only is Dion a crown prince, he is also the leader of an order of knights known as Dragoons. Yep, Sombrec is totally influenced by Ishgard. Next is a shot of Benedicta covered in blood, which triggers her into becoming Garuda. I'm thus assuming everyone we see screaming and traumatized from here on out is in fact a dominant. After we see the changes made to her body while summoning Garuda, we then see this shot of Benedicta in front of what looks like a statue of a deity. And this deity looks like the same one on the flag of Sombrec. Interesting. You then see her attacking Clive with a familiar tower in the background that might be Sombrec, and we also see Jill turning into Shiva, who then wrecks a group of soldiers with her ice power, possibly diamond dust. Now this part is cool. Here, that mystery soldier with the double swords is taking on Garuda while possibly changing into Ramu. See the purple lightning and blue eyes? We then get Clive fighting Titan, and finally we get gameplay footage. Now some of you already know this from my previous video, but let's review. In the upper left-hand corner, you can see the 3 icons that Clive can switch between in battle. In this scenario, Garuda, Ramu, and Phoenix. You can actually swap between them using the L2 trigger on your PlayStation 5 controller. You also see Clive's health meter, as well as Hugo/Titan's health meter, who may also have a shield meter under that, unless that's a special skill meter that's being filled by Hugo's attacks. And I say that because there are 3 meters below Clive's health that are most likely tied to Eikon skills, which you can see in the lower right-hand corner. The sword icon is obviously attack, the bottom one is jump, and the top button is for arrow, but then you can press the R2 trigger to access Rook's Gambit, Gouge, and Deadly Embrace, which I assume are tied to those gold meters below Clive's health. And like I said before, I'm guessing these skills are tied to the gold gauge bars, and that more powerful skills take more bars, so you can't just spam the strongest attack over and over again. Also, above the Garuda symbol are 6 nodes, 2 of which are red for Phoenix, 2 are green for Garuda, and 2 are purple for Ramu. By the way, while a level 14 Clive is attacking, you can see Eikon Strike and Gambit counter ×2 pop up. Oh hey, you can see Hugo using that giant fist we saw in a previous trailer to knock Clive around. You'll also notice in the bottom left-hand corner your available potions, which includes Potion, High Potion, and Strength Tonic, which you would need against Titan. In the next scene, we see Clive, still level 14, fighting Benedicta/Garuda, who is using the powerful wind spell Aroga. Huh, does that mean Clive has to take on 2 icons in short order? In this battle, Clive can summon Phoenix, Shiva, and I think Odin. Clive performs a precision dodge, which you can see here, and as you can see, when equipped with Phoenix, notice Clive only has 1 gold meter in this particular scene, can access Fire, Phoenix Shift, Heat Wave, and Rising Flame. Also notice a double arrow in the lower right-hand corner pointing to the icon Clive's using. Clive then pulls off a heat wave counter, and I feel like this, along with the Gambit counter from earlier, confirms you earn experience and bonus points for using tactical maneuvers and not just button mashing your way through combat. Then a level 37 Clive, this is obviously much later in the game, finds himself fighting, I think that's Odin, possibly performing Zantetsuken here, although I feel like you couldn't just dodge or jump over it quite that easily. Also, notice Clive has Shiva equipped. This icon gives Clive the power of Cold Snap and Blizzard. And also notice in every shot so far, the potion options in the lower left-hand corner are always Potion, High Potion, and Strength Tonic. I have no idea if that means these are the only potions available, or the dev just doesn't want to show any more inventory yet. By the way, it's at this point I realize that Clive has no party members with him. He's fighting these icons all alone. So does that mean no role-playing party? If so, that could mean Final Fantasy XVI does indeed take its cues from games like Bayonetta and Devil May Cry. Or at the very least, it takes its cues from Final Fantasy XIV, where each job class has its own skills and abilities, usually tied to cooldowns. We'll see. Next, we have a shot of Clive being grabbed by a giant Garuda, while a crazy storm happens all around them. We then see, I think that's Barnabas, take on Dark Ifrit with a huge sword, which might be the same one he uses as Odin from earlier in the trailer. Then there's a battle between Ifrit and Titan, then Phoenix and Ifrit. Ifrit is using Hellfire here, and then it's Bahamut versus Ifrit, and I'm assuming Bahamut just busted out Mega Flare. Get wrecked, Dark Ifrit. Then we watch, is that Jill? Young Dion? Dion's younger brother, maybe the one whose feet we saw dangling earlier in a scene with the Holy Emperor of Sombrek, take on Barnabas, who by the way does not seem very impressed. Then we see Clive, or is that Barnabas, and Hugo yelling, "Now die!" at the same time. We then see in short succession Swag Soldier, Joshua, angry-looking Dion, Benedicta, and Clive. After that, we see an image of all the Eikons as a voiceover dares crownless kings to rise up, for a reckoning is upon them in the form of a war of the Eikons. In this image, we can see Odin. Above him is Phoenix. We also see Garuda, Shiva, and Titan. It's hard to tell if Ramu is in this image or not. I think that's Ifrit. And finally, the title screen appears with Phoenix versus Ifrit, and the book closes, and we get a confirmation that the game is coming summer 2023. Yes! So hype! By the way, I'm throwing this out there now, but my crazy conspiracy theory is that Dark Ifrit is possibly the Eikon of the Iron Kingdom, and that the Dominant escaped execution and is now causing havoc in the land. Why? I don't know. Maybe he's trying to awaken the other Dominants and start a revolution. After all, Dominants are treated as outcasts and even hunted down. Or maybe he's crazy and the Blight has corrupted Ifrit and caused both Eikon and Dominant to go berserk. I'm thinking the Blight, by the way, is due to sucking out all of the crystal's ether so people can live comfortable lives. There's a moral to this tale, people. But if the Dark Eikon is the one responsible for this, why is Clive trying to stop him by absorbing Eikon powers? Is it to get stronger so he can avenge the deaths of his brother and his father? Is he absorbing the Eikon's power so that he can sacrifice himself and end the war? I have no idea. But you know what? I love this trailer. It's amazing. What did you think? Did you spot anything I might have missed? Let me know in the comment section below. Thanks so much for watching, guys. See you later.